Beautiful. All right, thanks all for coming. I'll call the meeting to order. It's the Wellington Board of Education Special Meeting, November 29th. We are starting at 7:34 tonight. The first item on the agenda for action is nomination and election of BOE officers. I will start through the chair, and then whoever's elected chair can take over the rest of the meeting. The next item after that is appointment of center school principal. Lisa Cushing is here with us tonight, which is great. Thanks for coming. And then the item that's on there, potential executive session for personnel matter. That issue was resolved this morning, so we will not need to do that item tonight. And so then you'll be able to adjourn after the appointment. So first item there that's on there is nomination and election of BOE officers. You have chair, vice chair, and secretary. And there's very little in your policy around protocol. It seems to make sense to do one at a time. And so basically what would happen here is you'd make, you open up to nominations and you can nominate someone for chair. It does not need a second according to Robert's rules. I went through the Robert's rules for dummies today. It can have a second, but it doesn't need it. Basically, once you have all of those nominations, you just go in the order, you'll vote in the order of those nominations, and it needs a majority vote to pass. And so we'll just do, while I'm acting right now, we'll just do the chair, and then I'll turn it over to whoever's elected. Does that make sense to everybody?
So you'll take all the nominations first for
Just
one
for
position,
chair.
just for the chair? Okay.
Just for chair. Herb, you were saying something, sorry.
No, I'm just agreeing with you, that's all.
Okay, perfect. Any questions about that process?
Looks like Donna has her hand up.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Go ahead, Donna.
I wanted to nominate Ann Grosjean to be the chair.
Okay. Any other nominations? Laura, you have your hand up?
I would like to nominate Michelle Cunningham for chair.
Anyone else? Any other nominations? Going once for chair. Any other nominations for chair? Going twice. I'm doing your 3 times, Herb. Any other nominations for chair? Okay, so Ann and Michelle, are you accepting those nominations?
I'll accept the nomination.
I would like to defer the nomination to Michelle. I was going to nominate Michelle.
So I think you either have to say yes or no to that if you're not going to accept the nomination.
I would say no.
So based upon that, are there any other nominations? Going once. Twice. Donna, is your hand still up or?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm watching both
I
things.
apologize.
No problem.
It's down.
Okay, so if that's the case, no other nominations. So you need to vote now unless you have any discussion on that nomination. You have, Ann has declined that nomination, so you only have Michelle as chair. Any discussion on that matter? All right, so you need a vote. So let's just see if it's unanimous first. And so all in favor of Michelle Cunningham as the next chair of the Board of Education, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Any abstentions? So let's do, I'm just going to go through a roll call here real quick.
I'm present.
Say it again.
Present.
I missed it, Herb.
Present.
He's voting
Not-
present.
That-
Oh, you're, okay, so who said yes? Can we go through the yeses? Let's just, Brianna, you're saying yes? Michelle?
Yes.
Herb?
No.
Laura?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Donna,
No,
who am I missing? Sorry,
Anne,
And
Anne,
Yes,
and did I miss somebody else?
mm-mm.
Is it 5-2?
Mhm.
Okay, so motion passes. Are we all in agreement of that? 5-2? I got all the no's and all the yeses. So Anne, you have a,
may I thank Donna for the nomination? I really appreciate that, Donna.
you're welcome.
okay, so
Disappointed you didn't say yes.
Sorry.
okay, so Michelle, I'm going to pass the meeting over to you then, as you are the new chair.
Okay, so we're supposed to then elect all of our officers now, right? So the next
Correct.
would be vice chair. So I'll take nominations from the floor for vice chair of the board. Tracy?
my name, sorry, I nominate Anne for vice chair.
Okay. Other nominations? Going once, going twice. Okay, no other nominations on the floor. We'll close nominations and vote. All those in favor of Anne Grosjean as vice chair, next vice chair of the Board of Education, signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, signify by saying no. Abstentions? Herb, did I miss you?
I voted yes.
Okay, sorry, I did miss you then. So then it was unanimous. Was that right, Donna? You voted yes?
Yes, I did.
Okay, it's hard sometimes when I'm looking for visual cues, and sometimes it turns yellow when you talk and sometimes it doesn't. So, okay, so that was unanimous, Anne, as vice chair.
Thank you.
So the third position is secretary. Are there nominations from the floor for secretary?
I nominate Donna.
Donna
And-
Cook,
And Donna respectfully declines.
okay. And Donna declines as secretary. And
I'll nominate Herb.
Herb Barico. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Herb, are you going to accept this nomination?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, once we vote, it's a done deal.
If I get the votes.
Okay, any other nominations for secretary going once? Going twice? Okay, we'll close the nominations. All those in favor of Herb Barico as the next secretary of the Board of Education signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Signify by saying nay. Abstentions? It was unanimous for Herb Barico as secretary. Okay, so congratulations all. I will strive to be a chair, fair and neutral and fair to all, even if all didn't vote for me. But I do welcome your input, whether it's at the meeting or separately. So feel free to let me know what your priorities are or what you're thinking about for the next few years. That would be very welcome. Okay, then next on our agenda, I'm going to hand it back to you, Phil.
So appointment of center school principal. So first, I just want to thank the administrative team and the members of the search committee for their time and the effort just to identify, we have an outstanding principal candidate. The process started with our administrative team reviewing a lot of applications. We brought back in 13 applicants were screened in person by the principals and myself. And then from there, we brought 5 applicants that were identified for full interviews from the committee. And the committee was composed of, we had 2 members of the board. We have Herb and Ann. We had some parents, a couple parents. We had teachers on the committee and the administrators. Lisa Cushing, who's here with us today, she's on camera, was chosen to come back for a 3rd interview. let's just say we put Lisa through the ringer, because we did. She had a site visit to center school to meet students, parents, and staff, and be asked a lot of questions by them. And she also completed a written performance task, which was outstanding. We then sent 2 committee members to Lisa's school and for a site visit there. And she organized that site visit with teachers, support staff, parents, and her building administrator. And our staff members came back. They didn't wait to get back. They called me on their way back and just said they had an exceptional site visit. And I will tell you that several of Lisa's colleagues and parents that were there will just say they were teary-eyed, knowing that there was a really good chance that she was going to be leaving her current district. So Lisa completed her master's degree in education at the University of St. Joseph's, and she completed her educational administration preparation program at UConn. And she's still, she's the UConn NEAG School of Education. She's on their alumni board, and she's the chair of the recruitment, scholarships, and philanthropy committee. So just a little bit about her career. She's a certified literacy interventionist. She's been a resource specialist. She's been an early intervention project coordinator, a teacher of kindergarten and 2nd grade. She was also a teacher leader at the Connecticut State Department of Education Talent Office, who raved about her. And her leadership experience includes acting as the interim assistant principal, where she's currently at, and the site coordinator for CREC's summer learning program, which is where she currently works, is for CREC. I will tell you that the hiring committee believes that Lisa has the instructional leadership, the professional presence, the communication skills, the ability to connect with students, staff, and families, and the drive. She's enthusiastic. She wants this job, and she's really already invested in what she's seen in Wellington. And we know that she's going to be an outstanding leader. I will tell you her references. I talked to 3 of her references beyond the folks that we met with. They refer to Lisa as a lovely person who's easy to connect with. And one of her colleagues said that she's a seasoned educator, always willing to take on a challenge. And she's fantastic at communication with families and staff. The search committee, this is unanimous. They recommended Lisa Cushing as the next principal center school. I will tell you, I wholeheartedly concur with that recommendation. I already had a final interview with Lisa, gave her the underground tour of center school. And I'd like to formally request the Board of Education finalize this process and appoint Lisa Cushing as the next principal of center school.
Is there a nomination or a motion? Anne?
I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Herb. Go ahead, Herb. Go ahead. I'll second you. You go ahead.
Okay, I move that Lisa Cushing be placed, become let me start again. I move that Lisa Cushing be the center school principal for Wellington Schools.
I
Thank you.
second that motion.
Thank you, Anne. Any discussion?
Are we allowed to ask
Who
Lisa
say?
any questions?
Excuse me.
Go ahead, Herb.
Yeah, I'll be very brief. I agree with everything Phil said. I think we have an excellent candidate. Her credentials are great. Her interviews were fine. She has a lot of potential, and I think she will grow in this position and perform very, very well. We're very fortunate to have her coming on board.
Thank you, Herb. Donnie, yes, we can ask questions if there's a question that you have.
Okay, I'm just curious if Lisa has had experience in turning around underperforming schools. I'm not really quite sure how to word it, but based upon prior conversations with our test scores being what I believe are substandard, if she's had any experience with helping to turn those things around.
Lisa, you can unmute and you can speak to your intervention experience if you'd like.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I just want to say thank you for those wonderful remarks. I'm absolutely thrilled to be taking on this role and can't wait to jump into it. Donna, thank you for your question. Yes, as Phil said, I was an interventionist for many, many years. I was the SRBI coordinator and head of the early intervention project at my school. So I've had lots of experience, not necessarily turning around the entire school, but turning around our intervention process and improving test scores little by little, utilizing different resources, different programs, training staff, professional development initiatives, just really looking outside the box, so to speak. And Phil mentioned my time at the Connecticut State Department of Education. I did work in the talent office, but I worked very closely with the turnaround office as well. So I'm familiar with a lot of the resources that they utilize and still have contacts there in that particular office. And I've been able to tap into those resources as well. And just to kind of, like I said, look outside the box and really think about what's happening at the tier 1 level for all students. And really that's where I get the most bang for my buck, is looking at tier 1 and before we even get into interventions and what's happening at tier 2 and tier 3. And at times I've worked very closely with my administrative staff and overhauled the entire way we look at what's being done in reading and math and writing at tier 1. So I do have some experience with that. And I did notice that I mentioned it, I think, in one of my interviews. I had done a deep dive into EdSite and looked really closely at the accountability report, next generation, that kind of thing. So I'm eager to get started and just kind of see where we're at and where we need to be and roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anne?
Lisa mentioned at the interview, that conversation she was just describing. She said she wanted to take a proficient school and make it exemplary. Is that?
That's
So
correct.
Donna, I
Yes.
think that answers
Thank
your
you.
question. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. There's always room for improvement. Absolutely. Continuous improvement.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote to appoint Lisa Cushing as the new principal of Center School. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, it was unanimous. Congratulations, Lisa. Welcome aboard. We're happy to have you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted, absolutely delighted to be here.
All right, well, Lisa, I will call you shortly when this meeting is over. You're welcome to hang with us for a minute, but I think all we have left is adjournment, so.
All right, sounds good.
I think we're all set then for the rest of this meeting. Thank you all for a special meeting tonight and for fitting it in. I know it makes the timeline much easier all around for everyone, given the holidays. Our regular meeting is still scheduled for 2 weeks from tomorrow. So I'm sure that we'll have plenty more to talk about by then. Okay, thanks everyone. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Laura. In a second,
I'll second it.
Tracy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions. Okay, we are so adjourned at 7:53.
Perfect. Thank you
Have
so
a good night,
much.
everybody.
Great. Thank you
I
all.
know. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you so